Hey boys and girls, welcome to the review on Canon's new SX740 HS. It's already the fourth generation of this camera for a price of approximately $250 to $300. The body is quite compact, it weighs about 300 grams including the battery and the SD card, and the camera offers 40x optical zoom, which is a lot for that body. Inside that body is a 20 megapixel sensor to print out posters as well. And for whom is this camera actually made? If you travel a lot and you need a big zoom and you don't want to carry all the lenses with you, I think that's the correct camera to have. And I know some people will say now, oh, but the Nikon P1000 has even a bigger zoom. Yeah, but it's bigger as well. And this camera fits in almost every pocket. At the side of the camera, you have a micro USB port and a mini HDMI port. The micro USB port can be used to charge the camera as well, using your car charger, a power bank, or you charge it from every USB port that you have at the moment, also from your laptop or computer. At the lower side is a tripod mount to place this camera on every tripod that you have. You can also use all kind of gorilla ports as seen in my other videos, maybe for video blogs. Next to it is the battery compartment with the NB13L battery with its 1250 mAh battery. Next to it is a compartment for the memory card. You can use all kind of SD cards. The best memory card I put in the video description below. Make sure to get a fast writing SD card, since you can take up to 10 photos a second and 4K video. Trust me or not, there have been people asking if you can place another lens on top of this camera. If a camera would have that feature, I probably would have mentioned it, so it's not possible. And can I place an external microphone on top for my video blogs? Do you see any kind of attachment where it works? No, and it does not have such a feature, unfortunately. Apart from that, it has a Wi-Fi and NFC interface, means you can connect this camera to your smartphone and tablet using the Canon Camera Connect app, which is available for free in the Google Play Store and iOS App Store. Using the Wi-Fi and NFC interface, you'll be able to transfer photos and videos directly onto your smart device and share them with friends all over the world. It works fast, it's for free, and you can control the camera also using your smartphone. Exclusively for you, I did a tutorial on how to connect this camera with your smartphone. A video can be found in the video description below, or just go on my channel and search for the video. By the way, the battery lasts for about 250 to 350 photos or 40 to 45 minutes video recording. But you will dampen the battery more quick if you record your videos in 4K. At the back side is that 3-inch flip display with its resolution of 922,000 dots to control the sharpness of your photos and videos. Unfortunately, it is not a touch display, which would make sense a lot because this side where you have your thumb is quite small, and with that extra touch display it would give you the possibility to control your camera and step through the menu. And that's already the fourth generation without a touch display. But obviously it's a selfie display, so it's really good for taking selfies, and if you're out there you'll be able to see yourself in front of the camera. By the way, at the end of this review there's a short video using the internal microphone of the 740 HS. At the side is a little switch that you need to trigger if you want to use the flash. If you don't want to use the flash anymore, just tap on it to store the flash back into the camera. The photos are looking alright. I mean, it cannot replace ambient light out there, but if you are on a party and maybe you want to take some photos with your friends, the flash is doing a great job. Unfortunately, it's the fourth generation as said before, and you won't be able to take any kind of RAW files. RAW files are a bit bigger than JPEG files, but in post you can do much more using RAW files instead of JPEG photos. If you use that camera for just snapshots, it doesn't really matter, but if you are looking for a travel camera that features RAW files, the 740 is not the correct camera to have. On top is the SCN mode, which stands for scene mode. You can take a couple pictures using a toy camera, miniature effect, smooth skin, and all kinds of these filters that probably no one needs. But it's a travel camera and it does not feature a panorama mode. And that's like 10 minus points for this camera, because the previous versions didn't have that feature either. Now we're in the fourth generation and we don't have a panorama mode for a travel camera. Let's assume you're on a beach and you want to take a whole photo of the entire scene. It's not possible using this camera. You probably do a better job using just your phone. Canon, what do you think sometimes? One feature that the people really need is not included in this camera, but all kinds of scene modes that probably no one really needs. Inside this camera is a 5-axis image stabilizer, which is useful since you have a 40x optical zoom and you can even go further using the digital zoom as well. It's good for low light conditions since the camera needs to expose the image a little bit longer than during daylight conditions. And it's great because you have a mega zoom camera. If you use it in photo mode and you went to 40x optical zoom, the focus is quite quick, but not in low light conditions. If you use the digital zoom using the image stabilizer, it does a good job as well, as long as it's daylight. But if you use it in video mode, it takes some time to refocus the subject, and that's especially when the subject is moving. If it's not moving, it goes quite quick, but as you can see from these kind of footage that I took using this camera, it takes a while for the camera to refocus. If you are a little bit lost using the digital zoom, it's no problem at all, since you have that little frame button here next to the Wi-Fi button with some arrows pointing outwards. You can try it out. Once you have zoomed in, just tap on that button. If you are lost, the camera will zoom out momentarily to give you an idea where you are in the photo, and it will re-zoom in again. When it's windy out there, the image stabilizer does not compensate really for shaky photos and videos as seen from these kind of footage. Here's some footage taken in a really windy condition in Los Angeles. We were at the Griffith Observatory, and as you can see, it was really windy that day and the camera was not able to really compensate our movements during video recording, but in photo mode it did a good job. The camera is capable to take 10 photos per second, and I have no idea who of you is using that feature. It might be useful once you try to record your kids playing football or soccer, or if you're on a safari and you try to catch the lion hunting another animal. That might be 1 or 2 occasions where you really need 10 photos a second. You can now record 4K videos using the SX740 HS, but it uses a crop factor as well. That means it looks like if you have zoomed in a little bit. And 4K video can be taken either in 25 or 30 frames per second, Full HD 50 or 60 frames a second, and 720p also with 50 and 60 frames per second. There's no slow motion capabilities on this camera. If you can record 4K video, I wonder why they have not at least taken 720p for slow motion videos, but obviously Canon tries to bring out another 740 series on the market that may have that feature in future. As I have said before, there's no port to attach an external microphone, and the maximum recording time is 30 minutes for one clip. One cool thing that the 740 HS has now is the time-lapse feature. You can set an interval, so you can tell the camera, please camera, take a photo every 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds or whatever. Tap on the record button for a second and the camera creates a great looking time-lapse video. And you can choose if you want to have that video in 4K or 1080p, which is a really great feature if you travel a lot and you like to have a scene, something like the sunrises or sunset, or you have something else in the nature which is really nice to see as a time-lapse. At least for this feature, well done Canon. Let's get to one of the last topics. We're talking about the low light performance. You have a fully manual mode, so you can select the ISO by yourself if you're familiar with photography. The lens is not the best for low light conditions, so some people may ask, is it a good camera for concert photography? If the concert is during daylight and if there are a lot of lights at that concert, it's a good camera as well. But once you're taking photos in a really dark environment, it's not the best camera to have unless you're using a tripod. And take a longer exposure time to compensate for the grain. Up to ISO 6100 everything seems to be okay, but everything beyond that is still okay. But at ISO 3200, which is the camera's maximum, you start already seeing a lot of grain in your photos and videos. And let's get to the best part, the zoom feature. 40x optical zoom is a lot. The zoom itself does not make any annoying sound that you might hear on other cameras, which is good. And here are a couple of comparisons between my phone and the camera. It's a really nice feature if you want to spot something which is really far away, so maybe for safari or for your next trip to Los Angeles. But since the camera is using a variable aperture on this lens, once you zoom in, you lose a lot of light, and the camera needs to compensate that with a longer exposure time or a higher ISO setting. That means that your photos might not get sharp once you zoomed in completely. But anyways, for such a compact format, 40x optical zoom is a lot and a great feature to have if you travel a lot. On the model is a food mode, which is one of the new features of this camera. We tried it out, and as you can see, the photos taken in the food mode, the colors are looking saturated and the food looks even more delicious. It does feature also a macro mode, so once you're really close to your subject, it will still focus. And if you have a food blog on Instagram, that might be one of the cameras that you may use in future if you don't want to spend too much money on a big DSLR. There's also face tracking, so once you try to track yourself, it's not a problem anymore, since the camera finds your face at all times. Let's make a cut here and get to the conclusion of the Canon SX740 HS. You get a lot of zoom for that price and such a compact format, which is great. But don't expect to attach an external microphone in this price range. Which really annoys me a lot is that this camera is made for traveling and it does not feature a panorama mode. I have no idea why that is. You can take panorama photos using your phone for the last 5 years, but this camera is already in the 4th generation and you don't have that feature that people really need, and Canon gives the people a lot of features that they don't need, so I don't get it. In the video mode you can take now 4K video, which is great if you have a 4K display at home or a 4K TV. So the photos are looking much sharper and richer in details, but you won't be able to take slow motion videos, not even in 720p. I like that it has now a time-lapse feature and you will be able to record great time-lapse videos using the SX740 HS. It's light, it's compact, and it fits in almost every pocket, which makes it ideal for a travel camera. The focus is a bit too slow if you're in a digital range and also during video recording. But in photo mode and once you're using just the optical zoom, it's great and it's fast, but not during low light conditions. And by the way, it does not have an electronic viewfinder. Otherwise, I would have mentioned this feature. So the question is, should you buy this camera if you're looking for a nice compact travel camera and the zoom is alright for you and you don't plan for the Nikon P1000? It's a great camera to have since this camera fits in almost every pocket. If you want to use this camera for vlogging, go ahead, but make sure you're not taking your vlogs in windy conditions. At the end of this video there will be a microphone test using the internal microphone of the PowerShot SX740 HS. If you get the previous version, the SX730 HS, by the way, there's a video on my channel as well where I did a review last year about this camera. For a really lower price, get this 730 HS instead of this new one, unless you want to take 4K videos, time-lapse videos, or you're a food photographer on Instagram, then this camera is a great choice. I hope this video helped you to find the correct travel camera for your next journey to Africa. If you still have any open questions, please feel free to post a comment below. And there's a direct link in the video description below also that guides you directly to this camera on Amazon or to the best memory card I'm using for all my videos. Thanks for watching, have a great Christmas and obviously a great Happy New Year 2019. Thanks for watching and now enjoy the internal microphone test of the Canon PowerShot SX740 HS. Bye bye! It usually never rains in California, but today it does. And that's the internal microphone while sitting in the car.
Oh shit!
That's the internal microphone of the SX740 HS on board of an aircraft.